this is Governor Bobber. I like good day, doctors.
George Allen here. Good day, doctors.
Good evening, everyone. It is Friday, July 9th, 2021, and it is Dr. Politics, the Political Architect Show. I am back in Maryland. I am not at the beach today like I was last Friday, having nice calming ocean waves hearing in the background. We are joined today by Dr. Collins, who's on the move, ready to make a house call. Welcome, Dr. Collins, and Dean of Washington Politics and Media Watchdog Extraordinaire, Don Irvine. Welcome to the show. It's been a busy week this week, everyone. I mean, we've seen everything from Joe Biden fumbling. Oh, wait, that's just every week, fumbling over his own words. And we've got a lot of news to get to. Don, you want to kick us off? Hey, Don, can you hear us?
Yep. Okay, I got you there. All right. Yeah. So what we've got here, let's talk about the big tech news, because President has now sued Google, Facebook, Twitter, suing them for censorship. He has been, had been deposed after January 6th, and so he's trying to do what he can to raise a little bit of a ruckus. Now, frankly, I don't think that the lawsuit is very far, but I think he is definitely elevating the discussion about the censorship and the kind of the left-wing bias of these big tech companies. If you're on the conservative side, it seems that you either get your posts blocked, go to Facebook jail, put warning stickers on them and whatnot. But if you're from the left, it almost never happens. So, what do you think, Dwight's going to happen here? What's going on?
One, I agree. I don't think the lawsuit's going anywhere, but there is a new social media platform just launched last Sunday, Gitter. I'm on Gitter now. I'm playing around with it. I'm not on there actively as I'd like to be, but it seems okay. It still doesn't have the same, community feel that, for the better or the worse. Facebook, you can go back and touch base with friends from grade school, the kid from kindergarten that you forgot all about. You can reconnect with them, which Gitter doesn't really let you do, nor other, and I think, look, Facebook is a tool. I mean, we're conservatives. We believe in free markets, and Facebook, should they be regulated as a utility? I think so. Or should they be, if they're a media outlet, there should be, they can't say they're they're not a media outlet, but they are a media outlet, and they're censoring free speech. I think we need to regulate the tech industry a little bit, and I don't mean over-regulate as in the way the Democrats would do it. I think we need to, just do some things, let them ensure, kind of like how you use interstate commerce. We don't have, states charging tariffs to other states. I think something like that, as in we, not let them block content and communications, and they can't be the arbiters of what they feel is offensive and not, because quite frankly, everyone's definition of offensive is different. I think raising taxes is highly offensive, but I've never seen Facebook block anyone for doing that. I've never seen Facebook block people for their anti-family stance. I have yet to see Facebook block every other screwy, nutty idea that comes down the pike. But if Dr. Collins were to ever say Wuhan virus or the Hong flu, or which he would never do,
It's it.
he would be blocked. That would be blocked from Facebook. Any talk of this being developed in a lab would be blocked by Facebook. However, they can say all sorts of crackpot conspiracy theories about the president. I remember going back to George W. Bush where they were calling him, people on Facebook were calling him a war criminal and blah, 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 and everything in the book. And didn't see Facebook get all that upset about that. But all of a sudden, when President Trump is president and people are defending the president, anyone says anything that's remotely defensive of President Trump, they have major problems of people defending President Trump. They had no problems when people were trashing President Trump, making stuff up, like him having an affair while he was in the White House, or the fact I've seen people post all sorts of vile things about President Trump, which never got flagged by Facebook censors. I think it's time we rein in big tech, frankly.
Well, Dr. Patel, I mean, the way that you're talking, it sounds like, honestly, we have to report you to Facebook as an extremist. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. And, we do broadcast on YouTube and Facebook, everyone. Just, smash that like button on...
yeah, put a big warning sticker on this show, guys. But, Dwight, I mean, this is part of the problem, right, guys? Social media has exploded. I mean, a lot of people get their new information, from Facebook, that type of thing, YouTube, whatever, and so that's a great way to reach a lot of people, particularly grassroots, especially within the conservative movement. The thing now, though, is just that it's as if the tech companies decide that while they have protections under Section 230, they want that, and they also want to be publishers so that they can dictate what goes on and doesn't go on their platform. And yet, but the two, they really don't work together. You really have to choose one, trying to play both sides here, and they really can't be getting both sides of this equation. Either they're going to be publishers and they're dealing with the First Amendment and they can be sued if they're doing something wrong here, or they go under 230 and they really need to let people speak their mind a little bit more. They really don't know what's going on. I mean, there are people out there that are saying, types of things. Trump's lawsuit not likely to go very far. Is this part of an effort where even the Biden administration will and look at it in a different way, saying like, big tech has gotten too big, which is a very and then tried to break them up, a la Ma Bell, years ago and things like that. You remember, everything they tried to do with Microsoft years ago.
You and I are older for Ma Bell, and now we're seeing the unification of Ma Bell under Verizon. Between Verizon and AT&T, the baby bell's been gobbled up by, I believe, Nextel is now part of Verizon. Verizon used to be Bell Atlantic. 9X is part of Verizon. Midwestern Bells is part of... the Midwestern Bells joined some other company. They formed another company, which Verizon ended up getting. And then you have AT&T that bought, I believe it was, is it Southwest Bell?
Yeah, SBC.
Yeah. They bought them, and I'm just waiting for Verizon to buy AT&T so we can have the reunification. It's kind of like the reunification of the British Empire. It's kind of like that. When Verizon comes back, it'd be like if the monarchy changed their name. Instead of being United Kingdoms, they changed their name to, the United Provinces of England. And then they bring back the entire empire. That's kind of like what would happen. And then I'd love for Verizon to change their name back to Ma Bell at that point. But I think, and the Democrats, they'll go too far with it. I don't trust Democrats doing regulations of any kind. I mean, the way they regulate industries, the way they regulate the coal industry, I mean, they always seem to go too far.
Yeah, and that's what's basically happening here. I mean, they've got an FTC who's going to go after companies and things like this. The Biden administration is showing very early on that they are taking really kind of a very big anti-business bent with their policies, whether or not it be the Justice Department or the FTC or whatever. Mm-hmm. They're going to go after these things, and so you're going to have a lot of restraint going on here. Mergers are going to be much tougher to get approved on a lot of bases. You were mentioning Getter, which was what Jason Miller's and he's putting that together. One of the problems with these things, just like we saw with Parler, and we've seen lots of other smaller, versions, is that they have a hard time getting any real heft to themselves. I mean, they can get $500,000 or $1 million or a couple million, and then they kind of seem to lose out a little bit. You need enormous amounts of money, to be able to do this. And
I'm sharing my I'm sharing my Getter page here. And I shared my Getter page. I mean, you've got a lot of folks, folks, like I follow a few people over here, but no one I really know is on Getter yet. So I don't know. The interface is very similar to Facebook, and they're putting it into Amazon Cloud, which for better or for worse, when you put stuff in. It is Amazon's cloud that you're in, so Amazon can decide to shut you down any day of the week they want. They feel offended by something.
That's kind of amusing because that if you're trying to get away from companies, is that the problem is that you don't have a lot of choices if when you're using cloud services. Amazon has grown their AWS service to this level. And they provide a pretty good backbone, so you have to compromise a little bit in order to make your thing go. That's part of the problem, Dwight, too. I think with Getter or in Parler and all these things is that you sign up and it's like, so it's just kind of like really even more of a conservative echo chamber. But I don't know a lot of people, and it makes it hard to get a lot of traction as a result of that. People are very comfortable, as much as the conservatives will at Twitter and Facebook. They're really not going to abandon them because the network is already so solid within that. Everything's over there. It's like in one fell swoop together. Then they might do it, but it's not going to happen. I mean, I'm not. If I move to Getter, I'm going to have to start all over again. I'm going to leave all these other people behind on Facebook. I'm still going to be using Facebook until we can get one of my friends over to Getter. So I'm going to wait this one out a little bit and see if this gets any better traction than Parler. Just in Parler pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean, Parler. Yeah. Another issue with Parler is that we can't seem to have issues. We're having issues with recovering passwords and stuff like that. I downloaded the new app, and it's yet to send me a authentication code.
Yeah, I think that it's interesting too to see. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I think that it's interesting to see also the generational divide of some of these alternative forms of social media. I'll say, to date, I've actually learned once. That's actually during the show. It's the first time I've ever heard of the G word that we're stating. So I think it's interesting to see how basically Facebook and it's interesting because really we see those who are a bit younger who are willing to really kind of the whole thing. I did want to mention too, Facebook and all these social media platforms have became the public square. And, I think that this is really a nonpartisan issue that really Joe Biden has the ability to really be leading, because guess what? I mean, wasn't it just not too long ago that basically the Democrats said that it was Facebook that handed the election to Donald Trump? And now we're on the other side because basically this pendulum did indeed swing. So I think that this is a situation where if we really love the concept of a public, which I think is a true American value to that freedom, we need to ensure that these social media platforms operate and really kind of be the only viable option.
Yeah, and here's something out of and here's some of the problems with Getter. Like the Getter, most social media sites would be getter.com/directpatel. They got a user in there, which basically is another area. It's so much easier to do, on Getter at directpatel. So you can just go getter.com/directpatel and you'd find me, but you can't do that. You gotta, like Facebook, you can do getter.com/directpatel and you'll find me, or Twitter, or any of the mainstream social media services like Instagram. But this is something that the developers over at Getter are going to have to do, is get rid of user, so it's just / the name. There's no reason why you need to have a folder where your users live. But that's going to be one of the issues. And I think a lot of these new social medias, it's great that I love the fact that more people are building social medias. I don't know if you guys remember. I don't know, Gary, do you remember MySpace at all?
Of course, I was born and raised in the generation MySpace boom.
Okay, and they never blocked anyone. MySpace. Who was the guy that was your automatic friend on MySpace when you started, or whatever? I don't know. Did they call them friends or whatever?
Absolutely.
The founders.
Tom was everybody's friend, and the thing I'll say.
What's that? Yeah. And he never blocked anyone. And then you have Zuckerberg, who basically thinks he's got to be the police out there, arbiter of what's right and wrong, Who died and made him the room mother, so to speak.
I will say this though. While we talk about we want this public square. I think there does have to be some kind of limitation in terms of some of the type of language that is used. With that, we don't want to get too far off the reservation with that, right? And the discourse has gotten a lot tough. People tend to be a lot more vile and other things around there. They hold themselves as well. They kind of let themselves go on social media a little bit too much. There's definitely too much information being shared on social media.
And this is on both sides. There's a lot of keyboard courage from people. There's a couple of liberals I spar with back and forth on my Facebook wall. Many times I point out, if I took out that F word out of your vocabulary, you'd be a dumb mute. Because everything is F Trump, F Republicans, F this. And it's, no. If I took the F word out, you'd be a dumb mute at the end of the day. And it holds for some people on our side of the aisle, too, who can't make a post or comment without using the F word. Come on. Like, we're grown-ups. We're not in a high school. And, we're not liberals that we say these things for shock effect, I remember when ass was allowed to be used on television. There was a report there was an episode of Friends, Parents Television Council, where they basically used that word, I think, over 100 times in a 20-minute show. And it's, it's vulgarity should not, you have a lot of folks, like Bob Hope was a really funny guy. He never resorted to vulgarity to get laughs. It's like such a cheap way to get laughs. Comedians do it all the time. Eddie Murphy, he's a really funny, talented guy. And I think he'd be just as funny if he didn't use the F word or vulgarities in his comedy. But then again, where is Eddie Murphy?
I agree with you, right? They really don't need to do that. And look, I'm going to admit, I have always been a little bit critical of President Trump. I think was that he is just overused. The way that he used Twitter and everything like that is that there are things he said on there he didn't really need to say. He would have been better said less, and he would have been much more effective. Because he played he's got an ego, and he played, I think, right into the media's hands on a lot of things, and created more problems than he really. I love the candor and just basically the fact that he's the no filter president on the one hand, but on the other hand, sometimes you're the president of the United States. I think you have to, with what you're doing there, and it would have been better for him. I mean, I know a lot of his supporters loved it, but he didn't have to do it the way he was reacting and doing things. A little bit less of that would have been just fine.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree.
Right, so let's go ahead and move on here. Do you want to do your breaking news there from the convention, or?
Yeah, we could do that. We'd like to send hearty congratulations to Jason Stein, one of the original doctors here. Congratulations on being Young Republican's new chairman. Congrats, and best of luck.
Go Baltimore, right?
Yeah.
And Baltimore. Very exciting to see here, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We all know Jason. We all like Jason. Congrats to Jason.
And Jason, nothing against Maria. Jason is also a very hard worker as well.
Yeah,
for sure. And I think that I will say this: Maria certainly has slumped through the state of Maryland for sure, and she definitely has done an outstanding job, during her tenure. But I think that the thing that's exciting with Jason is Jason has a true vision of really expanding the YRs as a whole, and basically creating it as a situation where we're going to try to reach, it sounds like, under his leadership, is what his whole thing is. Republicans, but never have had an interest like myself of becoming a YR. So it's interesting to see. Maria's done a fantastic job with helping candidates, knocking on doors, helping definitely several individuals get elected across the state. And I think that she deserves a lot of credit for a job well done as well.
And I hope she keeps working with the YRs overall, because this is the Republicans that I've seen in the last 10, 12 years, especially working on the Republican Central Committee of Montgomery County, is that if you lose a race, they often
go away.
here. Yeah.
See, Don, you and I,
and it's too bad. Some people maybe they deserve to go away, but there are other people that provided valuable, things for the party, and then they just packed up their. They
took their ball and went home. I mean,
that's right. They picked up all their little toys and went home.
Yeah.
So anyway, congratulations to Jason.
Yeah, congratulations to Jason.
All right,
yes.
Let's move on. We talked about this just a little bit before we started the show, because which is the administration's plan, which they're trying to smooth over this whole thing. So the vaccine rate, the Biden administration had what I think was a 70% target they were hoping to have by July 4th, of having 70% of adults vaccinated by July 4th. Short, because the vaccinations started to drop way off in the last few weeks. So now they've floated this plan where they're going to send government workers, or whoever these people are, out kind of door to door to go find the unvaccinated people, I guess, to try to convince them that they should get vaccinated. This is not going to go well.
Yeah. Hey, Don. What's really funny is it reminds me of, if you remember back in the days, I don't know, do you remember, hold on, I'll share with you, this is funny, I gotta share it with you. It kind of, when anybody in the federal government says, we're gonna go door to door to do anything, is it bad that, right now, basically what happens is, this image, whoops, hold on, let's see, how do I do this? Okay, yeah, I got it. Is it sad that this image comes to mind? Is it sad?
No, man.
I mean, this is the government going door to
Typical
door.
Democrats.
Is this what they're going to do? I mean, just saying. Yeah, I'm not. You know.
So here's my question about that. So, yeah, okay, fine. We have it back as the federal government. We want, or I guess the Biden administration, when I say we, so the Biden administration wants to go ahead and reach this lofty goal. I think that it's pretty clear that anybody who's wanted a vaccine has probably already gotten one. For full disclosure, I have not received my vaccine. I probably will never get one. And
Well,
at the
you're
end of the day, well, I'm young, relatively healthy, I guess, most days, but my question is why such the urge? Everybody who has wanted one has had the opportunity now for months to get one. Deaths are tremendously down. The caseloads are tremendously down. What are we doing? Like, what is it that I'm missing here? Why is there a need to spend an exorbitant? Because here's the other side of me. The fiscal conservative side says we're going to be spending a lot of money for these workers to go door to door to try to stick people with needles. Because obviously these are individuals who I'm not certified or licensed or have the ability to provide a vaccination to people. So we have to source medical professionals. We have to pay them an exorbitant amount of money to go door to door. I mean, where's that money coming from? I mean, when is it enough? When are we able to move beyond and say we're done? Let's close up shop.
Hey, Gary, here's something. Now, this is the COVID vaccine. What is the stock? I mean, this is kind of that slippery slope. I mean, are they going to go door to door to make sure everyone gets the flu vaccine, the shingles vaccine? By the way, I do want to get the shingles vaccine. I can't get it yet. I got to wait another year before I can get it. They say you have to be 50 before you can get it. So I got another year on that one. So, but I mean, are they going to go door to door pushing? Saying, "Oh, you got to." This kind of strikes me as the forced sterilization policy of the PRC. This is all right out of the. I mean, we believe in choice. I mean, whatever. I thought Democrats were pro-choice.
Right.
I mean, what about your
right?
choice?
I mean, that's one definitely. Dwight's a different is that they always talk about, if you take the issue of abortion, it's like it's my body, my choice. Well, why doesn't that apply in
my choice?
Oh, right. I mean, Gary's made a decision. The people should have a right to make a decision as to whether or not they want to get it or not.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter to me if I have an adult friend that doesn't want to get it. That's fine. Slightly different precautions if I'm around them for whatever, because I'm older. But I'm not going to excoriate or say, or criticize them for not doing it.
Yeah.
And this is the thing. I mean, and we have parts of the country where there are very, very low vaccination rates.
Yeah.
Well, you're going door to door is really not going to boost those rates by very much. I mean, Gary makes a great point about you're going to need a healthcare professional going around there. Not and in an era of technology where a lot of people have Ring doorbells, video doorbells, and stuff like that. You're not going to answer their door. I mean, we're just coming.
That's because we're going to see. This is what they're going to do, Don. That's
where,
why they're not going to ring the doorbell. They're going to break down the door.
Jackbooted thugs. We're going to send jackbooted thugs to your door.
Now, here's a question. Okay. Now let's take. Gary's got a twin brother somewhere in this world. Okay. He joined the army to get a free college education, but a war breaks out, and he says, "I'm a conscientious objector. I do not want to go." How is a conscientious objector any different from a person that doesn't want to take the COVID vaccine? That is my point, Gary. Is there a difference between a conscientious objector who basically bilks the United States government for a free college education, then when it comes time to serve, pay the piper, they say, "Oh, nope, I don't want to be a conscientious objector. I'm a conscientious objector. I don't believe in this war." Liberals would be praising those people who didn't want to go to war.
It's so crazy how it works and the hypocrisy of it. But I mean, I just go back to the thing to me that's just mind-boggling And maybe I'm just too cynical of government. Maybe that's it, okay? I don't consider myself an Alex Jones conspiracy theorist or anything like that, okay? Although Alex Jones is very entertaining to watch sometimes.
I mean, he used to come on Coast to Coast all the time talking about space aliens and the Illuminati.
Right. I mean, the Illuminati. As a Freemason, apparently I kill babies in my sleep. So, Alex Jones has taught me what I do as a Freemason. So, very excited about that. But look, the reality is, why, again, the cynical side of me, why is there the need? Why is there the push? Why is there such this just obsession and this basically shame train that if you get the vaccine, you should be ostracized? I mean, I'm happy that the vaccine card passport thing seems to be on its last dying breath. So I'm happy from a public relations standpoint, that seems to be dead as a dead issue. But it just seems that they will not give up. And my question is, why are the liberals obsessed with this vaccine?
Hey, Gary, would you get the vaccine if you got a free donut? I mean, what about this? At Krispy Kreme's, right? Do they take your name down when you show them your Vax card to get a free donut? Because couldn't you go? What stops you from going to like Krispy Kreme's and stores at different times of the day when they've got different people working there to get your free donuts? Are they going to start hanging pictures of people that come in there and do not give this person a donut?
And look, I mean, doctors, this is the thing that bugs me about this. The more and more that I think about it, the more and more that it irritates me, because where's the HIPAA protection? So you're telling me that my medical information is going to be vitally protected with some random chick who's knocking on my door? I mean, how do I know that the vaccine is in a safe situation? I mean, you're going to provide me a vaccination? I mean, in my house? How's my house? I mean, I live in a very gorgeous home and my home's pretty clean, but how about the people who don't live in clean environments that are sterile? I mean, there's just issue upon issue upon issue with this. But again, we got to get that goal so we can say we got 70 million people vaccinated or whatever the abstract number is. It's bizarre. It is. They are so obsessed with the most random things. Why? All the while, we still need to get people back to work, and we need to help our companies like my own that can't find employees to work.
You're right. I mean, that's another big thing is like people are not. You got people. I mean, I was in Florida. One of my favorite places down there is Steak and Shake because they've got Shamrock Shakes all year round, but they don't call them Shamrock Shakes. They call them mint shakes, but they're because they're not conducting a war on the Irish. But they only are open for drive-through. And why is that? Because they don't have enough people to staff the restaurant. I know some business folks. My family's been in the hospitality business. Still has a few vestiges of the hospitality industry, and a lot of those folks are having a hard time finding staff to man the front desk, clean the rooms and stuff like that. And I mean, when you're managing the hotel, like the front desk guys, you're making decent money. You're not making minimum wage. You're making like $50,000-$60,000 a year. And if you're like the general manager, making six figures depending on the hotel. But the problem is everyone's gotten so used to the free money. I know in Florida, people's free checks run out in a couple weeks, so maybe that would change the shift of people wanting to go out and actually find jobs. And you've got the government doing crazy, things like doling out free money, And, Gary's a businessman, I'm a businessman, Don, you're a businessman. Like, if we lose our business, the government's not going to come and give us any money to keep us afloat, And that is one of the biggest problems we have. And then they want to, what are they going to do? Like when they first mentioned people going door to door to do give everyone the vaccine, Nellian Gonzalez picture came to mind. And you know what else comes to mind? Census takers. Are they going to rehire all those census takers, train them how to give injections and say, here you go. And they'll be like strapped like, those Old West cowboys with a bunch of syringes. And they'll carve little notches every time they give a hit with a syringe, Are they going to give them Are they going to give put those in tranquilizers? Those dart guns so they could shoot people as they're trying to flee, just fire and hit them with the vaccine. We got one.
Well,
Are they going to do stuff like that?
On this whole vaccine thing too. I mean, the numbers weren't even higher than they already were. It has taken so long to get to where we were. Is that there is a general distrust by a lot of people of the government, and so the Biden administration thinks that by trying to send people door to door is really going to be a workable solution with a high level of distrust that people have in the government. I mean, this is the problem with the Biden administration is they don't understand how things work. Dwight, you've already alluded here to the jobs thing. I mean, look, we have 26 governors, have or will be ending, participation of their states in the extended unemployment benefit program. But what happened in Maryland? A judge stopped Hogan from doing that, right?
Right.
Hello, people we want to put people back to work, and you're coming in there and saying this because the liberals, a lot of people, raised up their arms and said no.
But I was really shocked to hear that unemployed workers have a union. How do they pay dues? Do they take it out of their unemployment checks? How do unemployed people have a union? That's what I'd like. If any of our viewers know how unemployed people get to join a union, please let me know. That's very fascinating to me. I want to know how that union is collecting dues and stuff like that. No, are they selling?
Well, maybe their dues were suspended due to COVID, like a lot of other things. They've got a grace period. Until the benefits run out, they don't have to pay their dues or something.
That's very possible. That is very possible. Or do they send
But Gary has. I know Gary's mentioned the worker shortage in your business before when you were on the show, and so that's obviously still persisting. But when you watch
absolutely.
the news, read the news, one of the things that comes out is that not only is it hard to find enough people, just in general to run the business. I mean, the also forces businesses to shorten their hours. So a lot of businesses then wind up having, they open for fewer hours, which means also that's fewer hours for them to make the money they need to pay all their overhead on top of that. So it's it's a really bad situation. And we've said this on the show a few weeks ago. What's Biden's initial reaction to this? More money. And it's like, yes, Mr. President, that's exactly the problem, right? CNBC just ran an article the other day, talking about inflation. It's like, the silver lining of inflation is that people are earning more money. I think you're missing something here, right?
Right. This lovely thing called buying power is totally forgotten in that whole equation.
Yeah. I mean, Don, I showed
this
you
is
guys
CNBC.
last week.
You're you completely ignore the buying power thing. The argument. Jeez.
Absolutely.
By the way, Gary, real quick, I got to ask you, what did you do with your 16 cents you saved this week, and what did you do with it?
Well, I tried to buy a gumball, but the gumball machine at least was 50 cents now, so I wasn't even able to buy a gumball, unfortunately.
Yeah, you can't even buy a Dogecoin for 16 cents.
Yeah, that whole that barbecue thing. I mean, once again, I mean, the administration just fumbling the ball on this.
And those stupid puns they used. I mean, really.
Well,
I like a good pun
16. Besides the fact that it was so far off. I mean, 16 cents. I mean, people are going to be going like, oh yeah, I'm so glad I voted for 16 cents on this particular group of food items for July 4th. Right.
Do you think they'll do something like that around Thanksgiving also, about how we save maybe 11 cents on Thanksgiving dinner this year?
I wouldn't put it past them at this point, but you never know.
Or Halloween candy is like 18 cents less than it was last year, or so of that.
Well, they're gonna have a hard time making a lot of those arguments down the line anyway, because we're obviously seeing persistent supply chain issues, and inflation even if it's temporary, it's still probably going to be around for at least a few more months and still kind of, pushing things around here, and it will affect us.
Mm-hmm.
Going around. I mean, my she's definitely seeing that.
By the way,
I complain. How I complained on Facebook the other day. My almond milk is up about 10%. It's like, what happened? Same price for like years, and all of a sudden it's up 10%.
Did you try oatmeal milk? That's a new thing.
Yeah, I've had that too. I tried that too when they gave me a free carton over at Harris Teeter, but frankly, the almond milk at Walmart the chocolate one was just fine.
Well, almond milk probably tastes better too. Because almonds taste better than oatmeal.
Well,
by the way, guys, I've got some breaking news. This is the vaccine czar that Joe Biden is appointing. Fat Tony, resident of Springfield. He is now the new vaccine czar. It's funny, Gary, but somewhere back of Joe's head, he thinks there really is a Fat Tony living in Springfield, and he's the perfect person to be the vaccine czar.
All right, hey Dwight. So Dwight, I'm looking at our Signal messages here. If you're seeing this, so we also have the other results. They're saying that so Maria and Melissa got blown out. Jackie lost her position by 3 votes.
Wow.
That's Jackie.
Who won that? Who won that seat against Jackie?
Tori.
Wow. Good for Tori. Congratulations, Tori.
And Jackie is a really hard worker. She works very hard for the county club. She's our executive director, and this is remember President Reagan lost the first 2 times he ran for president. And things happen. You can't walk away. You got to stay there and fight. And 2 years later, you can come back and win. They're both very young.
Yeah.
And I
really hope all of them do stick around. Montgomery County was not too friendly to me.
They're all very
where
hard.
Most of the state. Yeah, I mean, when I ran for second vice chair, the rest of the state was very kind. Montgomery County, you guys weren't too terribly kind to me. But at the end of the day,
I believe there's a certain person that made a contract. Yeah, I mean, I believe there was certain person that donated to your campaign, even though they did not vote your way, but they donated to your campaign.
And I appreciate that, my friend. I appreciate that. That helped to pay for a nice ad and a few signs. So thank you. Thank you.
Well, he's been to bundle you had T-shirts and everything. Only thing you didn't have was like noisemakers and stuff like that.
All right. So talking about let's segue to talk about spending some more money here. So Kamala Harris announced that the D wants to spend $25 million to basically combat the Republicans' efforts on voting rights. They want to talk about free and fair voting and all this stuff. And every time I look in the media, it's like it's either voter suppression for the Republicans. Now the latest thing I heard was that Republicans are fighting against democracy, right? Through all of this stuff. Because Texas is back. Texas has got a special legislative session to talk about their voting, their voting laws that they couldn't get through when the Democrats walked out of the regular session. So Governor Abbott is definitely trying to make sure he pushes through some reform here.
Where is Jimbo Carter, who likes to go around to every third world despot country and observe free and open elections, Jimmy Carter, and it's funny how Jimmy Carter and all those people that want free and open elections all over the world don't want free and open elections in America. Isn't that kind of hypocritical of our third worst president now? Because we got Obama and we got Biden. Would you say Jimmy Carter has moved up to number 3 from number 1 as the worst president in the United States?
I mean, he obviously wasn't a great president, but like everything else over time, he looks a lot better compared to others that have succeeded him over time.
Hey, Don, Bill Clinton looks better than these.
Yeah, absolutely, sure. I mean, Nixon pretty much rehabilitated himself too after.
Spiro Agnew, look at him. Spiro Agnew looks better today after Vice President Biden. I mean, Spiro Agnew, actually, Michael
There we go.
Steele
We had to
started
get
the
that
rehab
We had to
of
get the Agnew reference.
Spiro Agnew's reputation. You know, Michael Steele was so ethically challenged that the office of lieutenant governor, you know, he made Spiro Agnew look good. You know, I mean, the guy was a bumbling moron, and now, you know, let's see, he joined the Lincoln Project and campaigned against Republicans like Susan Collins and Cory Gardner. You know, and that's one thing Larry Hogan did not do. Larry Hogan did commercials for Cory Gardner and Susan Collins. You know, yes, Larry Hogan didn't support our president. Larry Hogan didn't work against our Republicans out in the fields. You know, Michael Steele worked to defeat Susan Collins. He worked to defeat Senator Perdue, Senator Loeffler. He worked to basically knock out Cory Gardner, and he was successful there. Michael Steele now has the audacity to think about running as a Republican, and to quote President Bush, "Bring it on, Michael Steele. Bring it on. We want to see you run for governor." You know, we all have very long memories here.
Do we think that he's really running?
I think he's got a
do
contract
we really?
with MSLSD.
Right.
What's that? What was that, Gary?
Yeah, I'm sorry for the connection here, but like, do we really think that
I think I know what you're
like? At the end of the day,
Michael Steele, when he ran the RNC,
now
it was in shambles.
As a potential individual running for governor.
What did you say, Gary? Dr. Collins? Paging Dr. Collins.
Well, I mean, I think in
This
the
is
end,
on a
whether
raspberry.
it's Michael Steele or someone else, I mean, you've got to, you know, if Kelly Schultz is going to be the choice of a lot of conservatives, and then have to give her support early on, and so that we can kind of clear that field out a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need a crowded primary, or at least not putting these people off early. Get them, you know, the money game will be big on this as well for them. So,
yeah.
And the club fundraiser for too. So that's good.
And I will say this: I think that Kelly, without a question, is the clear front runner there. She's definitely the favorite.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say that it is vital to have a primary. You know, I think that if we looked at shot, you know, Republican leaders at that time, and I mean, but unbeknownst to pretty much almost, he defeated Anthony Brown and won, and he's
Yeah, I mean, I think if Kelly follows a lot of the Hogan playbook in a lot of ways, you know, that'll help. I mean, Hogan was, you know, didn't run as an ardent conservative, and you really can't statewide in Maryland and win.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, if Kelly kind of portrays herself, you know, in the same vein, doesn't
twice.
She'll be
so,
fine.
you know, I think.
Hey, Gary, what did you say?
This connection is getting worse.
Yeah, you must be closer to the Eastern Shore of Delaware.
All right, Dwight.
Anyways,
let's go ahead and move in, because I know you want to talk about that.
Yes,
So-
Afghanistan. You know, Joe Biden, the Democrats are doing what they did in Vietnam, cutting and running again in Afghanistan. I believe it was Newt Gingrich who several years ago made the point that we should keep at least 2,000 active troops and keep a presence at the Bagram Air Base in Afghanistan, which we're not doing any of those things. As a result, I can foresee that. I mean, what's going to happen if next spring? Because how long after the Soviets basically ran out of Afghanistan by the Mujahideen, did the Taliban take over? I want to say it seemed to be less than 18 months from the fall of the Soviet Union.
My thing was, and I meant to go look this up because I mean, you know, it was Trump. It was part of Trump's plan to withdraw. I mean, they had set the, you know, kind of as their target Biden has now moved it August 31st. But the question I have, which I didn't look into, was the fact, was the Trump administration, their plans would have been a low-level presence and still have somebody there, were they also going to do the same thing, which is basically have just a handful of advisors there and leave the Afghanis in charge of this? Because we're definitely seeing the downside of that, of pulling our troops out, is that the Taliban is already starting to take over as a result. The Afghanis they're not putting up much of a fight right now.
No, they're not. And a lot of, if you ask the run-of-the-mill, the average Afghanis on the street, they really don't want the Americans to leave, because they probably read their history books. They remember what happened to South Vietnam after the Democrats defunded the war in Vietnam. They're afraid of what's going to come next is the purges and the return of the Taliban and return of Sharia law. Women will not be allowed to be educated anymore. They'll be full burqa. Men will have to have beards, and it'll be back to the days of pre-9/11. It'll be like September 10th. That's where they can fester and they can grow, and that's where radicalism will grow. And what does Joe Biden do if we have if Afghanistan starts falling apart next spring or by Christmas time this year? Where do we go to? How do we because we're not too friendly with the Turks. Are not too. They're not really going to let us operate out of Turkey, I bet, this time around. And the Pakis aren't going to let us operate out of there. So, are we going to just do air support and do bombings without? And are we going to be like doing? How are we going to get the boots on the ground, so to speak? Are we just going to be doing an air campaign with drones and B-52s and to win a war, to actually be effective, you actually need boots on the ground. We could have won. We didn't even win the first Gulf War with just air power alone. We bombed Iraq into the Stone Age at the first Gulf War. We still needed to send.
But I think the whole thing here too. This is, my question to you, Dwight and Gary, would just be like, we've been there for about 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
How long should the United States be, doing these types of things? Okay, not to sound like a warmonger, but I must say, we've got troops in Korea still. We've got troops in Japan. We still have troops in Germany. Now that Germany's one piece, as Jakob Warner would say. The two Germanies have unified. We still have a significant presence in Germany. I think keeping 2,000 troops would be a stabilizing force in Afghanistan. That would give would give pause to the troglodytes who want to just come back and just start their campaign of war, murder, and pillage, so to speak. Afghanistan was calming down as early as 2008 when President Bush was on the way out of the office. The surge worked. The surge worked in Iraq, and it also worked in Afghanistan. Afghanistan is probably the most stable it's been in its country's history right now. And that is because of American troops on the ground being a stabilizing force. South Korea, we've got troops there, they're not hated in South Korea. They're not trying to, nobody wants to, and I think just like we're a stabilizing force, we're preventing the deterrence from the North Koreans from invading South Korea is the American troops in South Korea. 2,000 troops in Kabul, Bagram Air Base, that area, it would be a deterrence from the Taliban from reconstituting. And they'll think twice because we would have a base of operation. We can land troops there, and we can mobilize pretty quickly and basically push back any sort of issues that come along the pipe.
Yeah, and I think that from a strategic standpoint, I don't really understand why the United States wouldn't want a quasi-permanent base in Afghanistan. I don't personally get it. I mean, from an intelligence standpoint, from a diplomatic standpoint, from a militaristic standpoint, I mean, having a United States presence in the Middle East that is quasi-permanent, I think, you know, is beneficial for the world and certainly
Mhm.
for that region. I mean, I look at
It keeps
Israel.
Iran in
I
check.
mean,
It
of
keeps
course,
Iran in check. It keeps Iraq. Iraq is now stable, but it keeps the bad actors in Iraq. It also keeps Pakistan from flipping off and going nuts and invading. You know, they're one of their neighbors. You know, it's a stabilize Americans wherever we go in the world. We are a stabilizing force. Look at the look. And we kept Europe war free for over 50 years now. And that's because of the American presence in Western Europe, and now America, which we should give Ukraine membership into NATO, which would give us our basically forward defense would become Kiev, opposed to in Warsaw would be where we could actually put missile bases, put Minuteman missiles pointed at Putin in Russia. But I mean, and all related. I mean, this is Joe Biden being soft on the Russians. I mean,
of
these
course.
have been accused. I mean, President Trump was a hell of a lot tougher on the Russians than Joe Biden hands them a list. Hey, you better not attack these 16 interests of ours, but you can attack anyone else. You know, I mean, really, how stupid is that? And we've just had another attack, which he basically kind of ignored. I don't know if you guys saw any of that. He was asked about the cyber attack a couple days ago on, I believe it was a company based out of Florida. But going back, you know, our enemies are China, the Russians, the Iranians. Having presence in what do you call it, in Afghanistan is a good thing for us.
For sure. For sure. And look, I don't think that it's a situation where engaging in wide scale military operations is ideal. I mean, we look at there's a wise man who once said that the demise, paraphrase, that the demise of the our country would be meddling in foreign affairs. Of course, paraphrase there, but at the end of the day, I think it's vital to maintain a global U.S. presence, because the second that we dwindle that down, everybody else is doing it. China has their influence all over Africa. China has their influence certainly engaging within the Middle East. China has their influence everywhere. And we want to talk about Russia all day long, but I think that we also need to understand that China is building, is nation building in one of the largest continents of the world, being Africa, and
Mm-hmm.
nobody's talking about it. Nobody
Yeah, I mean,
cares.
yeah, and here's the where Africa is concerned, we should be actually, you know, we've got friends in Africa, you know, we should be building a presence of our own in Africa because they're strip mining their resources, and they're taking it back to China. What we need to do is, you know, kind of work with our friends in South Africa and Eritrea and various other countries in Africa to build our, you know, come to us, you know, go back to, what do you call, come back and get, you know, kind of, we need, you know, I know I like to go back and have we need Richard Nixon, Henry Kissinger foreign policy these days. And instead, we've got the foreign policies of George McGovern and Ed Muskie. That is what the foreign policy we have right now. We need more Nixon and Kissinger, John Dulles policies. You know, we don't need policies of Ed Muskie, frankly, or Cyrus Vance for that matter, or any of those linguini spine Democrats.
All right. Well, we're already up to about 8 o'clock, Dwight. So
Final thoughts time. It's multiple final thoughts, Gary. Just letting you know, you can have more than one. So, what's with you, Dr. Collins? Final thoughts.
Well, thank you as always of having me. I was a very proud wearer of your stickers at the State Party convention.
Thank you.
So, yep. My pleasure. And you guys do a great job. And thank you always for having me. Most importantly, we just have to win. And at the end of the day, nothing in this world matters unless we as Republicans win, because otherwise we'll just be sitting and complaining. And so, congratulations. Also, I want to say to the YRs, I think that there was a very loud message. I think that young Republicans across the state are very excited for what the future holds as a party and as a state. And my thoughts, my prayers, my hopes are with Jason Stein as he leads a vibrant organization, and my hope is that it grows and prospers richly. So congratulations, Jason. Congratulations, Tori Lard. She is definitely, I think, an unsung hero in many regards that I've seen in the Baltimore County area that many individuals have kind of overseen. And I just want to say, as a young Republican who's not a young Republican, congratulations also to a job well done for the entire executive board who looks like they've been voted out, but congratulations to them for a lot of success over the past few years.
Thank you, Gary. Final thoughts, Don Irvine.
Yeah, but just a couple of things, I guess. One is that we to congratulate our National Spelling Bee winner. This is a pretty remarkable young lady. I mean, her name is Zaila, Avant-Garde. So she's from Louisiana, and apparently her father is a fan of avant-garde music, so that's where they got that part of the name there. But I had heard a report this morning that she had actually finished in the last spelling bee tied for 370th, and she comes and she wins.
Wow.
There's no Indian winner. The Indian girl was second, so that kind of took the momentum away. There's a lot of Indian winners over the last few years.
Yeah, I mean, the last couple of years, the Triple Crown was you had an India that won the geography bee, India won the math bee, and the spelling bee. And I think don't they have a history bee also? Isn't there like a history bee?
They may. I mean, look, we know that those kids are pretty smart. The thing about this girl, though, is just that you have to look her up. If you haven't seen the videotape of her playing basketball, she wants to play in the WNBA one day, and at the age of 14, she's already pretty good. And she's got a phenomenal video of her kind of like bouncing and juggling basketballs, balls, and things like that. She holds 3 Guinness World Records for stuff like this. It's pretty amazing. Mm-hmm. So congratulations to her for this. I mean, because I think 14 is probably that's it, right? That's the top tier age. I think.
Yep.
She's no longer eligible afterward. But congratulations to her. She's the first black winner, female black winner of this spelling bee ever. So
really, I would have thought it would have been somebody years ago would have won it too.
Yeah, that's what they say. And then for the Baltimore people, remember, I have to couch this. I've never been an Orioles fan, but I have lived here my entire life, so I know all well about the Orioles, and there are a lot of Orioles that I do love. From Earl Weaver,
Orioles Magic, Don. Orioles Magic.
Mark Belanger. All these guys. I mean, there were some great players in Baltimore over the years, and some great teams. Not lately, but some great teams. But I do want to give a shout out to Trey Mancini. Because here's a cancer survivor who is going to be in the home run derby on Tuesday night. I guess, or I guess maybe they'll hold it Monday night. I guess before the All-Star game.
Yeah, Monday night.
Is Tuesday night.
Congratulations
to Trey Manning for being invited to that. I hope he does well. It's going to be pretty tough to be this year, but still, tremendous effort by Trey to come back from cancer and play as well as he has this year. If he's lucky, the Orioles will trade him to the contender by the trade deadline.
It's Orioles Magic. The Orioles need to keep all their rock stars.
Orioles Magic.
Orioles Magic. It's a rebuilding.
Orioles Magic. Woo!
It's a rebuilding decade, Don. It's a rebuilding decade.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a rebuilding century at this rate.
And, one of the things I think we need regime change in Baltimore. Peter Angelos, who is the owner, should go away, frankly.
Uh-oh.
And
Lost Gary.
yeah, we lost Gary. Yeah, so yeah, but yeah, we had Gary for most of the show, which is great. And a couple things. One, I do want to share one thing. Krispy Kremes. I mentioned about the donuts. So they got a picture of this guy. You're not supposed to. He's not supposed to get a free donut.
If Krispy Kreme was closer to where I
and
live, I'd do that. Maybe I should tell Young that when we have to go over to Falls Road for something next week. I think it is. And maybe we'll just take a little detour over to Falls Grove and then go over to the Falls Road area and get my free donut.
Yeah, I mean, and I bet if you go on your way back, there'll be someone else in behind the counter. You might get another one.
Dwight, I will have to say I hadn't thought about the shift change. Why not get more than a day if you go with the different shift workers? Because there's no way somebody's working at Krispy Kreme for like 12 hours a day.
Yeah, I mean, even and there's got to be more than one Krispy Kreme in Montgomery County. I know you and I know somebody who on 7-Eleven will walk from one 7-Eleven to another 7-Eleven to get his free Slurpee and go as many 7-Elevens as possible, which I think is a mockery of the free sample system. But any more thoughts, Don?
That's it.
Let me just say a couple things. I got a few final thoughts. First one, on July 19th, Montgomery County Republican Club is hosting one of the fundraiser for our next governor, Kelly Schultz. She will be at the home of Katja Bullock on Monday night from 6:30 to 8. Tickets are very reasonably priced. If Jason Trott were here, we could do my $35 price point, which would say we are insane. $35. We must have been insane. Or you could join the host committee, join a lot of our friends that are on the host committee, like Michael Higgs, Sasha Dara, many other, Maria Sophia, Mark Unkefer, yours truly, and a whole bunch of other people that are on the host committee. You could join us and pay $125. But it's a great event. It will be, I am willing to bet there won't be too many fundraisers at $35 a head for Kelly Schultz, our next governor. Too much more in the future, frankly. So come on out, visit MontgomeryCountyRepublicanClub.com to get ticket information, or go to the link that I'm about to throw in down below and buy your tickets and be there. It is awesome. We're going to have a valet and we're going to have a lot of fun stuff. Cool. So that's going to be great. Monday night, July 19th. I'm back from Florida. I've brought a whole bunch of limes from Lime Tree, and they are really nice limes. My orange tree is yet to produce an orange, but I hear it's going to be 4 more years before I can see an orange.
Florida. I saw those limes, and I was thinking I think even lime prices have gone way up. I mean, Young has to go out and buy limes for her. She puts them in her jasmine rum. She makes it.
Okay. I'll bring you a few limes. Because I'll bring you some limes. We'll talk after hours. But and the other.
I'm going to try to be at that fundraiser on Monday night, so we'll talk.
Oh, that's on the 19th. Yeah.
Is it? Oh, it's the 19th.
For
19th,
Kelly, right? Yeah,
for Kelly.
Yeah.
I lose track of time.
Yeah, I know. It's like, hey, I thought it was this week too. Any consolation. Yeah, but I think it's going to be a great event. Another, and Florida's great. I can't wait to get back to Florida in a couple of weeks. Florida's awesome. Can't say enough nice things about the great state of Florida and Ron DeSantis. I met with the Brevard County Republican Party. But for all us folks in the great state of Maryland who think Montgomery County has a central committee that is too big, Brevard County Republican Central Committee is made up of 248 members. 248 members. And they do their meetings at the convention center in Brevard County, over in lovely the Vieira section of Melbourne. And so just think about that next time anyone says our county is too big. Brevard County GOP is too big to fail.
Hey Dwight, I got to throw this in here. I just was checking my email here off to the side. So here, Alex Bush has already sent an email out to the Central Committee congratulating Jason for being elected tonight.
That's great. I mean, we congratulated Jason and so on, as well.
I'm only saying that because I just wonder about the should I say the schism that he had with Maria.
Yeah.
And he couldn't wait to get out an email.
But and my final thought is we've got a coming up. We have it's July 1 marks the 40 days of the celebration of Dwight Patel. I turn 49 this July, and what's really funny is now I remember Don, when I was working for you, I mentioned to Debbie something many moons ago, and she mentioned how I'm not old enough to say many moons yet. So now that I turned 49, I can say things like 25 years ago, 30 years ago. I could say 40 years ago, and I still remember it clear as a bell like yesterday. So July 1 marks 40 days of Dwight all the time. And with that, I want to say thanks to everyone, and thanks for watching. Thank you, Dr. Collins. We will see everyone again next week. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.